Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're heading back in time to the 19th century, to this remote little community in northern Sweden called Rosfors. It was a place built around an ironworks, fire, huge machines, the whole deal. But its official story has this massive gaping hole right in the middle. And it all starts with one single disastrous event.
And that's really the big question for us today, isn't it? I mean, when all the official records are gone, when the employee files and the accounting books have literally turned to ash, where do you even begin to look? How do you find the truth of a world that's been lost? Okay, let's get into it.
So picture this. It's Maundy Thursday, 1906, and the main office at the Rosfors Ironworks burns to the ground. And when I say everything was lost, I mean everything. Wage books, production logs, personnel records, the entire paper trail that proved this community even existed in the way that it did. For all intents and purposes, it was a complete historical blackout.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, the story of Rosfors wasn't totally erased. It was just scattered, shattered into a million little pieces. And the clues are still out there, hiding in plain sight. It just means we have to become historical detectives to piece this whole puzzle back together.
So let's start by really wrapping our heads around the scale of this problem. What did it actually mean for this entire community when its official history just went up in smoke?
I mean, this quote really says it all. Just try to imagine understanding a company today with no access to its emails, its financial reports, its HR files. You couldn't do it, right? Well, that's the exact situation historians were in with Rosfors. It seemed like the daily lives, the struggles, the wins of the people who worked there were just gone. Forever.
Okay, so with the official paper trail gone, where do you even start looking for clues? Well, you start with the people. A fire can't burn down family stories, and that's where we meet two guys who are absolutely central to the story of the ironworks. So the oral history that survived gives us the simple, powerful narrative. On one hand, you have Per Östling. He was the first master of the blast furnace, and the story goes that he was a failure, an unfit drunk who was blamed for all the early problems. And on the other hand, you have his replacement, Jacob Espling. He was the hero, the savior. He came from this long line of master smiths, he knew all the secrets of the trade, and he was the one who got Rosfors working the right way. This story of failure and redemption is our first real narrative thread.
So you're probably wondering, how do we know any of this if all the employment records are toast? Well, the answer lies in the records that the fire couldn't touch. Genealogical charts, just like these. They track who was born, who died, who married whom, creating this amazing web of human connection. These family trees are our first truly critical piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so we've met the people. But what about the world they lived and worked in? What did this place actually look and sound like? Well, our next set of clues helps us rebuild the incredible machinery that powered this whole community.
Check out this diagram. This shows us the technological heart of the whole operation. You can see on the left how water is channeled in to turn these absolutely enormous wheels. And those wheels power everything else, from the bellows that blast air into the furnaces to the giant hammers that shape the iron. This was the engine room of the 19th century industrial world.
So how did all this cool technology come together to actually make iron? Well, it was a pretty ingenious four-step process. First, they harnessed the raw power of the river. Second, they'd take the iron ore, roast it, and crush it up. Third, they'd smelt it in the blast furnace to create a crude product called pig iron. And finally, that pig iron was reheated and then just relentlessly pounded into shape by those trip hammers to create the finished product, valuable, strong bar iron.
And this gives you a sense of the incredible scale we're talking about. This is not some blacksmith with a little hammer in his hand. No, this is a trip hammer. That water wheel would turn that massive axle, the cams would lift that heavy beam, and then boom, it would release, letting the hammerhead crash down with unbelievable force. Can you imagine the noise, the ground shaking? This was the loud, intense physical reality of their workday.
All right, we've pieced together the people and the machines. But what about their lives? The economy? What did they earn? What did they buy? The answer comes from our single most important clue, a perfectly preserved account book that by some miracle wasn't anywhere near Rosfors when the fire hit.
This right here is a page from the 1789 ledger of a master smith named Nils Flodström. Now, here's the crazy part. He didn't work at Rosfors, but, and this is the key, his descendants did. And because this craft was so highly regulated across Sweden, the way they worked and got paid was pretty much the same everywhere. So this book, his financial records, becomes our economic Rosetta Stone.
It lets us decipher the financial life of a world that left no records of its own.
And when you dig into his income, you find something absolutely brilliant. Yeah, sure, he got paid for his standard production, but look at those next two lines, over yarn and over coal. These were bonuses. He actually got paid extra if he could produce more iron from his assigned charcoal, and he also got a bonus for using less charcoal to make his iron. It's this incredibly smart incentive system, all designed to maximize efficiency.
So why did he need all that income? Well, just look at these numbers. This is a grocery list for one family for 1 year. We're talking nearly 1,500 kilograms of rye. That's over 3,000 pounds. Hundreds of kilos of malt, probably for beer, tons of fish and salt. This ledger just makes history so tangible. You can almost feel the weight of those sacks of grain.
And of course, just like us today, you had to pay your dues. This chart shows a breakdown of Nils's taxes and fees. He paid taxes to the state, sure, but he also paid fees to the local priest, to the dean, even to the church organist. It just reveals this really complex economic life, showing how a skilled worker like him was woven into the financial fabric of the entire community.
So now we have our clues. We have the family stories, we have the technical blueprints, and we have the borrowed economics. In this final section, we're going to put it all together.
You know, what started as a seemingly impossible task, telling a story with no official history, has actually revealed something pretty remarkable. The life of the Rosfors Ironworks, it wasn't just contained in one building or one set of account books. It was everywhere.
And this method, this whole process, we can call it historical reconstruction. It's really the art of taking all these different surviving pieces of evidence and layering them on top of each other. The family trees give us our characters, the technical drawings build their stage, and those financial ledgers, they write the script of their daily lives. And when you put it all together, a lost world starts to emerge right from the ashes.
And that leaves us with one final thought. The story of Rosfors wasn't just special because its archive burned down. It's special because people took the time to go looking for the clues that survived. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other lost stories are out there, all around us, just hiding in plain sight, waiting for a detective to come along and start asking the right questions?